There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it, and big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100%. They're not human.
Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to try to put everything into perspective with regard to the 2023 Las Vegas alien incident. What you are seeing on the screen right now, if you are watching this, are 20 separate images playing out at the same time, 5-second GIFs. That's what I set it up as. Each little image is just playing over and over again. Each little square on the screen, there are 5 across, 4 down. So it's basically 20 images that you are seeing right now. And that's not even all of the aliens that you could find in that video. There's actually more than 20. But these are the 20 separate instances where alien creatures appear in that 1 minute and 41 second long cell phone footage filmed by the Kenmore family during the early morning hours of May 1st, 2023. Actually, Contra Kenmore was the person who filmed this. She basically, her husband Bobby and her 2 teenage sons, Angel and Joshua, they tried to enter the yard armed after some object came crashing out of the sky into their backyard. Actually made a hard landing in their backyard. Obviously, it didn't crash because there was nothing there by the time the police arrived over an hour after this incident went down. But what you are seeing right now, you can see all the aliens. You see all the movement. I focused on aliens I was able to capture in movement. That was my goal, and I wanted to get at least 20, and that's what I have accomplished here. As you can see, there's 5. There's rows of there's 4 rows down, 5 across. And there's actually a few other ones that I didn't include in here. There's some of them, they're not really, there's not a lot of movement. So that's why I didn't want to put them in there. But I just want to point this out because, I've been talking about this case for a while now. Of course, since it happened, actually, I believe I started talking about this in late May or June. I think it was June of actually 2023 when I first talked about this, or maybe it could have been May. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. What does it matter? But it wasn't until April of last year when Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert from Ohio, examined the video along with the members of his team, and they determined that the video was authentic and there was no fakery whatsoever, no CGI, and so that 1 minute and 41 second long video was real. He authenticated it, and he also said that at the time, April of last year, that there are creatures in that backyard, and since that point, so this is well over a year and a half now. We're talking about. We've discovered a lot more creatures in there. And we tried to, over the course of many, many podcasts, I've talked about a lot of these things. And here we are now looking at them. This is the fruits of that labor. And it's not even all of it, to be quite honest with you. And I think it's important to talk about because you know what? There's still people in the UFO community who fail to recognize the significance of this evidence. But as you could see now with your own eyeballs, there's aliens in that backyard. They're all over the place, actually. They're all over the place, right? And I think it was important to do this. Just recently, Chris Lathrop, who's an investigator of this case, he contacted me. And he wanted to let me know what somebody was saying online about this recently. Actually, Joe Murgia, known as the UFO Joe, he was commenting on this in a negative light. He was commenting on a different post. There was something James Fox, the filmmaker, was in an interview with Eric W. Davis recently, and he was asking questions like about where's the proof? We have alien spaceships in our possession. We have bodies. Where and why can I get the specifics to verify those claims? And so it was a back and forth between them, and Joe Murgia was commenting on that, and so. And he wants disclosure. All of us want disclosure, right? Joe Murgia wants disclosure. UFO Joe, I actually have, I like reading Joe's posts. However, he's one of these people, along with just about everybody else in the UFO community, who pretend like the Las Vegas alien incident doesn't matter, that it doesn't prove anything, when in actuality, it proves everything. It actually shows that we're not alone. It is disclosure. It serves as disclosure. It could be the placeholder for disclosure until the government tells you the rest. Actually, this Las Vegas alien incident, one thing it does confirm is that the government's been lying. They have to be lying. They have to know about this. They obviously know about this, right? They actually put up the Las Vegas Police Department installed a Homeland Security camera after this incident occurred. But anyway, Chris Lathrop had commented, this was on November 5th, to this comment, to this some of the questions that James Fox was asking Eric Davis, and he specifically with regard to the proof. And Chris asks, "Where's the proof? The proof is Las Vegas 2023. The case every mainstream ufologist refuses to cover. Just a couple of weeks ago, I asked Nick Pope if he'd go over the evidence I compiled, and he declined. Laughable. There are so many fed moles out there in this community." That's what Chris Lathrop said. He thinks that there's a lot of fed moles out there that are trying to keep this secret a secret, right, from the rest of the public, and pretend that the evidence that we now have within the public domain means nothing, when anybody who looks at what I'm showing right now knows that we already know. It's over. It's done. But anyway, Joe Murgia, UFO Joe, commented back to Chris Lathrop on November 8th. He says, "Aliens in the backyard? Yeah. George Knapp showed up at their house 3 times and they ghosted him every time. That case is dead." Does Joe Murgia live with his head up his own ass? I mean, what's going on here, Joe? I mean, what's the matter with you? Are you part of the gatekeepers now? I mean, what's the matter with you, Joe? I mean, seriously. But anyway, Chris responded to him and he says, "You have to be kidding me. It's literally the best documented UFO case of all time. So what if they ghosted Knapp? Sasha Larkin and DHS probably told him not to. You're out of your lane on this one, Joe. You're embarrassing yourself by calling that case dead." Yes, you are, Joe. You're embarrassing yourself. It's very embarrassing, because I'm embarrassed for a lot of these people. I'm very, very embarrassed for a lot of these people. But you know what? I don't even care. It doesn't really matter. We actually have the evidence right now. These guys could play because they have the spotlight. You know, that's what they crave, and they want to be the ones, I guess, to be the ones who are able to say, "I was the one who proved it." That seems to be more important to these people than anything else. Either that, or they're part of the gatekeeper crew. I don't know what else to think anymore. Seriously, I mean, you're looking right now at the screen. You see what's going on here, right? I received some comments too from some people a few weeks ago. I guess it was actually October 11th, somewhere around here. Somewhere in October, early October, where Ancient Aliens finally aired an episode where they mentioned the Las Vegas alien incident. And of course, I did a whole show about how they dropped the ball. Actually, that was the name of the episode. Ancient Aliens drops the ball on the Las Vegas alien incident. And I received a lot of positive comments for that episode. And one of them came from JB on Spotify, and he wrote this, and this was a great comment. I think I might have mentioned this one before, but I think it's appropriate for this episode today. He wrote this. He says, the evasiveness is telling. This is exactly how truth is treated when evidence is showing what you don't want to accept, lie, ignore, stigmatize, and redirect. By an incredible statistical margin, the untampered video shows beings and distortion of the video unlike any known fakes. So here it is, and most of the UFO community will not engage, let alone mainstream. Some of us must continually reshape our understanding of humanity to understand just how truth adverse our species actually is. Yeah, that's so true, JB, so true. I actually responded back to him. I said, very well put. I am so grateful there are so many others who can see what is occurring with this situation. The story has become more than just the absolute fact that this case proves there is a presence here. It also shows that how the world reacts to it. It's fascinating and frustrating all at once. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And as you can see, it's over. As Scott Roeder and I were saying since over a year now. I mean, it's over. I mean, we got the proof, man. I mean, you could see right now with your own eyeballs. So let's talk about each one of these things. Now, before I even talk about it, I just want to point out that I recently did a show where I talked about how I do this, how I'm able to find these aliens in the video, right? And I actually also included a link to the video so you could try it yourself if you're game. But so I'm not going to talk about how I did this because I talked about that, in a whole episode just recently. So we're just going to talk about what we're looking at here, and we'll start from the top here, from the top left, and we'll go left to right for starters here. Okay, now, and of course, in the top left is my favorite. That this is a little gray alien that pops up after the family members got chased out of the yard, and then they stood around shocked for a few seconds, and then they reopened the gate and they continued to film. And as they continued to film, this little creature pops up. It's a little gray alien. I named him the Undeniable Backbreaker, or UB for short. It's a take on the ET, the extraterrestrial, but he's undeniable backbreaker because it just ends the debate as far as anyone should be concerned. I mean, this breaks the back of the debunkers. Now, I get questions every now and then about this little guy. We're showing him on the screen, just a video with him in it right now. I get questions about this guy sometimes. Why do you call him the Undeniable Backbreaker? That doesn't make any sense. Well, it's a sports phrase. Like for instance, like when the Philadelphia Eagles, my favorite team, was in the Super Bowl last year, and it was in the halfway through the third quarter, and the Kansas City Chiefs just turned the ball over on downs. What did the Eagles do? They could have tried to run the clock out, but no, it was already 27-0 at that point. So what did they do? The quarterback, Jalen Hurts, threw a bomb into the end zone to Devontae Smith for a touchdown, which, by the way, broke the backs, was a back-breaking play to the Kansas City Chiefs. And was the end of the game pretty much, because the next thing anyone knew, it was 34-0. And that's pretty much the same situation here. I mean, once this discovery was made of UB, along with the UB, we didn't discover him until after Scott Roeder had authenticated the video. Then later, there was a couple of aliens that we talked about then. But then as time went on, we found more aliens after the video was already authenticated, and everybody knew that it was real. So this thing here, this is a little gray alien that you see. That's what it is. And he's an undeniable backbreaker. He breaks the backs of every debunker out there because their grift is over ever since that little head popped up out in the back there, along with all the other aliens here. This ends the debate. It ends their grift. It's all over. This is disclosure, all of this. And now moving over to the next one, starting from left to right, the next one over on the top, the second one over. That's the creature that appeared over the fence. His face appears over the fence as the father and two sons were getting chased out of the yard by a different creature. This thing showed up. And it was partially invisible. It was partially transparent. That was because it was using some sort of cloaking technology or ability, or who knows, maybe time distortion. Nobody really can say. All we can say is that it was really there. And Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert who has over 30 years experience and testifies in court, he's a professional at what he does, he verified this. And he said that what they determined when they looked at that video where the creature appears over the fence, the face, he said that there were 66% of the pixels in that little area of the video were deleted somehow, mysteriously. There's no explanation for it, but that's what happened. But that's the fate. What are you going to do? This is how aliens are able to make themselves invisible to our cell phones. We can't. It's hard to even film them. It's hard to capture. We're lucky that we even have this evidence right here. And now moving over to the third one on the top, the third one from over the middle. That one there, that's a creature that looks very, very much like a creature that abducted the members of the Allagash Four back in 1976, as I've talked about in numerous episodes. This appears after the family members got chased out of the yard. It appears near the heavy equipment. You could see it has two arms. It's one of them. It's lifting one of its arms, its right arm up, while its left arm is moving in a downward fashion. You could see its face. Its mouth is moving. You could see its eyes. Very, very strange looking creature, I must say. And now moving over to the fourth one on the top over. This is the creature that chased them out of the yard. You could see this. They all start walking in. All three of them were armed, but when they saw this thing coming at them, they all just backed out and fled. And they were scared out of their minds. I mean, this was shortly after this happened, right? That's when they called 911. But they did continue to film for a little bit more. And actually, now moving over to the last one on the top. This is the furthest one to the right there. That little creature now, that there, you could see this as they were going into the yard they thought they were going to do something with their guns, but they were going into the yard. You could see this thing was hanging out there by the heavy equipment in the backyard. Okay, now moving on. The next one here. This is one of them that appeared near the front loader. And you could see this was actually, there was a team of them. There was a bunch of them in that one little area. And this is the one that was, this is just one of them that we're seeing right there. You could see their heads are turning, big heads. You could see antennas on top of their head, just like the family members had described. They told that to Inside Edition. Very, very weird, very weird creatures. Actually, this creature here, along with a couple other ones in this video, looks very much like a being that Magic Mike Batista, who filmed a apparent alien craft coming down in his backyard in Missouri a couple of years ago. He was actually on a Ross Coulthart interview in recent months, which I did a show about that, and I showed the comparison between one of the beings that Mike Batista captured and this thing here, along with a couple other ones from this Las Vegas video. Now moving over to we're still on the second row here. We're going to move over to the second one on the second row and that one is one of the weirdest ones in the whole video. This thing was very cloaked. It appears very briefly toward the end of this 1 minute and 41 second long video near the heavy equipment in front of the one that looks like the Allagash creature. You can see the Allagash one right behind it. And it's very strange. I mean, this maybe it's reptilian. You could see you could see eyes, you could see a cleft on its head, you could see a mouth, and it's just very weird, but you could also see through it. It's almost like it's almost semi-transparent, similar to the creature that showed up near the fence. Now the next one is one that only appears in one frame. This is the middle one on the second row. That one there, it appears, this is after they get chased out of the yard, and this thing just looks like it was a creature. It might have been walking across the front of the front loader, trying to maybe position itself someplace else. But as you can see, it's very, very weird looking. And so that's another one here. So now moving over to the fourth one in the second row. That one here, this is another one that appears toward the end of the 1 minute and 41 second long video. This is to the right of the front loader, and behind there was a vehicle that was parked there in front of the front loader, and this is off to the right of that. And this thing appears briefly, and this thing, this matches pretty well, I think, with the description as that Angel Kenmore had provided to the media. He said that these things had big mouths and big eyes, and as you could see a very large mouth on this thing, and big eyes, very big eyes. And now the next one over to the right on the second row. The very last one. This is one that appears there's a pickup truck that's closer to the gate where the family members were standing watching this. This appears, it looks like it could be in the back of the pickup truck, inside of it, this little creature here. Very weird. Now moving down to the third row, the first one on the third row on the left there. This is another one that appears at the same time as another large one, the one we talked about earlier, that was from the second row, right above it. You'll see that one appears, and here's the full image of all of them, of that one and the other one that appears. This is what very strange, but no question about it. And you can see antennas on its head too. This one was right behind the other big one. Now moving over to the we're on the third row. We're going to go to the second one on the third row, the second one from the left. There were a bunch of different creatures that seemed to be smaller creatures that seemed to be hiding between the front loader as well as the that there was a vehicle parked in front of the front loader, and there was a section in that area where a bunch of them appear, and you could see them momentarily. See, a lot of these creatures, they were phasing in and out of view somehow. We don't know how. We're saying it's cloaking, but we really can't say whether it's a technology or just an ability that they have, or it was somehow time being manipulated. We really can't say. We don't know. But this is just another example of one of the many faces that just appears throughout this video, alien faces. And that's another thing to think about here, is that just everything that shows up, it looks like an alien. Looks like an alien face. It doesn't look like human. It doesn't look like an animal. It looks like what the description of an alien. That's what it looks like. They all look like alien creatures as described by people who have witnessed these with their own eyes. Now, the third row, again, we're going to talk about the one in the middle. This one only showed up for about several frames. That was it. You can see it flashing. Now you see it, now you don't. It's just flashing off and on the screen. I talked about this creature before. No question about it. It looks like an alien. You can see two eyes on it and just see the top of its head. There's no doubt about it. Now, moving over to the fourth one over from the left on the third row, we're going to be talking about this one here. This was like a tall creature that was standing off to the left of the front loader that appeared. You could see it toward the tail end of the video for about halfway through it. And after they got chased out of the yard, they continued to film that area, and there was a section of the video where you could see this looks like a tall thing standing there. Sometimes it disappears and then it reappears, but it's there. You could see it looks like alien. It looks like it's moving around, moving its head. No question about it. Now, moving over to the last one on the right on the third row, this was a taller one that was standing to the right of UB in that same area. Next to the front loader, and it's just very tall. It was tall, not very tall, but it was taller than it seemed taller than UB, because it was about a head taller than him, and it was moving around. You could actually see, this is actually before UB shows up, where you could see UB pretty well. You could continue to see this thing after UB disappears too, but it shows up and there's just another alien. All right. Okay, now to the fourth row. On the left, the first one there. This was one that was behind the front loader, looking through a window apparently, and it appears at the same time as the two big-headed creatures that you see right above it there. They all appear at the same time, and another alien, another big one. Of course, when they called 911 that night, Angel and his father Bobby, they reported that there were 2 8 to 10 foot tall alien creatures in their backyard. They didn't see the other smaller ones, but there were other ones there, as we are seeing right now. And then, okay, the fourth row down, second one over, another one. This appeared again between the front loader and the Jeep. In front of that, there was an area where a bunch of them show up. You see them for a few seconds and then they disappear. Just another alien face. There's just no question about it, folks. And now, here's another really strange one. This is the middle one on the bottom, the fourth row. This one, I call it the ghost of UB, because this one's, when I first was talking about the undeniable backbreaker last year, somebody else had pointed this out to me as well. You could see basically there's this other face, but it's like it's like invisible. It's like, you ever watch movies about people becoming invisible and they're just about to be totally invisible and then they become invisible? But this what this looks like. It looks like something that's there, but it's invisible, but you could still make out its eyes. You could make out the shape of its head. I mean, it looks like a skull almost. It looks like an alien. That's what it is. I mean, there's no other explanation. Okay, we're still on the fourth row. We're going to move over to the fourth one over on the fourth row. Now, this one here was peeking its head out. This was a little creature, it looked like, peeking its head out from inside one of the behind the front loader there. That's what it looked like. Yeah. And obviously it's an alien, as you can plainly see. It's an alien. And then finally, the bottom corner on the right, this one here appears right toward the end of the video. It's a face that kept on poking out from behind the second. There was some heavy equipment in the backyard. This was a different front loader behind the one that was in the front, and this thing kept on poking its head out there toward the end of the video. And I saw that. I captured that one there as well. So there you go. Look at all the aliens we have. Look, this is unbelievable, right? It's really not. I mean, we've been talking about it for over a year and a half now that we now have the proof. And now here's a compilation of all those beings. And I like to know, like, I know you're going to hear from some people in the UFO community, and here's what they're going to, you either have to tell yourself they're either lying or they're stupid. That's the bottom line. They're going to tell you, when they tell you that there's nothing there, this case is dead and all that kind of nonsense, right? Well, you know, they're either stupid or they're lying. They're not doing their homework. They didn't look at this. They think it's just too unbelievable. It's just too fantastic for them, or they're lying. There's no other explanation here, folks. This case, it's a done deal. We now have the absolute proof, right? Absolute. There's no question anymore, as you could plainly see looking at this, right? There's absolutely no question anymore. So, what else could I say? What else is there to say? I mean, we'll keep covering this story. I'm never going to stop. I'm going to keep talking about it until it finally gets the recognition it deserves. And this case needs to be discussed. The world needs to know that we're not alone. This incident proved it, because all of the evidence associated with this case, when you put it all together, the totality of the evidence, right, it informs us that we are not alone. There is something here with us. There's a non-human intelligence, absolutely no question about it. You are seeing all of these aliens all at the same time. This is just 20. Here's a couple other ones. I didn't even throw this one. I forgot about. Here's one here. This is some runners up. Now this one was very hard to get this image. I mean, I came across it almost by accident, actually. This was, I guess, earlier this year, maybe last year even. And I got it only in a still. This shows up as they were walking in the backyard, just about to get chased out. This shows up in front of the heavy equipment. You could see this is clearly an alien. I mean, you could clearly see it. This is just a still image. This isn't even part of the 20, right? And there's other ones here too. There's a lot more. I mean, I know there's going to be people out there actually who are studying this case themselves, and they're probably going to be mad that I didn't talk about some of the other ones. There's a lot more here, people. I mean, this is, I don't know what else anybody needs at this point. If you can't see this, I mean, you have to ask yourself a question, just like that JB said in that comment on Spotify. I mean, how could you? There's no way. The chances that you would have this many, at least 20 different instances where you see what appear like alien creatures that was, I mean, you had a family, right? They say something came down in their yard. Obviously, we see the object. It was that we all know about the object that fell from the sky, right? I mean, it was captured on multiple different video sources, right? We know that it had no heat signature, right? Because it was filmed in long wave infrared, which showed that that there was no heat signature, right? If it was hot, there would have been. If it was a meteor, there would have been a heat signature, but there was no heat signature. We also know that it made a sound as it came down from the sky, because there was some ring camera footage, right? That with sound that captured this object falling, and it made some sort of an oscillating sound. It was filmed from various different places, from 4 different states. People saw it coming from the sky. People reported it to the American Meteor Society. I mean, it was a lot of people saw this object coming down. We know, right? And even the police officer captured it on his body camera in Las Vegas as it came down, right? And then shortly after it falls, there's a call into 911 from this family, and they call up 911. And they report aliens in their backyard. They say something came down in their yard, some sort of a craft. They heard, Angel Kenmore reported that he heard what sounded like thousands of footsteps running off in various different directions, right? And then the police showed up. And by the time the police showed up, apparently the aliens were gone. They searched the backyard, and they came out, and they didn't see anything, apparently, when they were back there. But before they called 911, they tried to chase these creatures out of there by themselves, apparently, when they walked back there with handguns. But what happened? They get chased out of the yard. They film it. Luckily for us, because if they didn't film it, all this would have been a story, and everyone probably would have forgotten it by now. But they did film it, and they have the evidence. They have the footage to back up what they were telling everybody else, what they told the police and what they told reporters. They have the evidence, and you're seeing it right now. You're seeing it right now. There's no denying it. Yeah, I feel sorry for the people who continue to lie, especially people with, I think, I can understand the debunkers, because, I mean, their world was just rocked over this, right? I could understand that. I could understand the government. I mean, I sent a message to the Pentagon and to the Department of Energy last summer, 2 summers ago, right? I never heard, I laid it all out for them, right? Never heard anything. They know about this. They never responded. What are they going to say? What are they going to say? And then on top of it, what bothers me the most, right? That doesn't surprise me. The government and the debunkers, right, not admitting it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I get that, right? However, I never got the UFO community. I really don't understand what's going on with them. You know what? I really don't care. Who needs them anymore? I don't need them anymore. I don't think as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what they do, honestly. Am I looking forward to movies like, Age of Disclosure? Of course I am, right? I can't wait to see it. Yeah, we're moving. I'm happy about Congress talking about this, but at the same time, right, it's already a done deal, right? It's already a done deal. I don't know what the game is with these people in the UFO community. I really have no clue, really no clue. But you know what? I'll leave it at this. There was one other comment I want to point out. This was for that same Ancient Aliens Drops the Ball in Las Vegas incident episode on Spotify. There was another comment too I received, and I'll just read this. I'll provide this comment, but without a comment from me. But this was from somebody named Kahuna, and Kahuna wrote, "I'll bet my left testicle that George Knapp, his sidekick Jeremy, Ross Coulthart, Lou Elizondo, and all the rest of the so-called experts have seen Scott Roeder's work on Vegas, not to mention all of your work, Jim, and still refuse to utter anything substantial about this case. This case was disclosure. Their pride was no way in hell about to allow you credit, Jim. That's what it boils down to. And that just makes me want to vomit." Okay, thanks a lot, Kahuna, for that comment. Is that what it is? Well, I don't know. What could the reason be? Why are they? Because they're part of the slow disclosure effort to drip this out over a long period of time. So give people time to digest it over time. Is that what it's about? Okay, if that's what it's about, then why didn't somebody let me know that? Doesn't matter. Here, as a reporter, I feel it's my duty to show this, to report the truth about what's going on here on this planet. And obviously, as you can see, there are aliens here, folks. There's no denying it. No denying it. And I guess I'll say this: too bad for the rest of these people. If it's about ego or something like that, well, that's what are you gonna do? It's human nature, right? It's all human nature. I'm petty too sometimes. I mean, look at some of the stuff I'm saying right now. I'm a human being. I'm petty too sometimes. Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter. All I know is this. I could tell you this. Since I've been talking about this and sharing all this evidence that I've been discovering in this video, along with the help of other people helping me to talk about this, to research it, people like Chris Lathrop and Scott Roeder. If it wasn't for those guys, I mean, I wouldn't be able to talk the way I am. This was a grassroots effort. I mean, there were people who helped this happen. Like, for instance, Julia June from New York. She was one of my subscribers. She's the one who contacted me early in 2024, actually March of 2024, to tell me about the face above the fence, right? See, I guess a lot of these bigger names in the UFO community, they don't like grassroots efforts. They must be opposed to that kind of stuff. They want to get all of the glory in the end, I'm assuming. And here's the problem I have with it is, like, I have nothing but, for all the time that I've been interested in this subject, as I become more interested over the decades, and of course I've been interested in it for a long time, since since the 80s, right? Since the late 80s, because ever since when I realized that creature that showed up in my room when I was a kid, I realized that, something is weird, but it took me like at least 10 years before I realized that it was non-human intelligence. That's what was responsible. I when it first happened, I thought it was demons from hell. And then since that point, I've been very interested in, and then my own UFO encounter, right? In the mid 1990s, along with a witness. Along with a witness, it wasn't just me, and all these things, right? I read books all the time. Since the early 90s, I've been reading books and I've been watching documentaries. I've been big fan of all these people in the UFO community, and here it's so weird to have this evidence now, to have this proof out there within the public domain, and yet they don't want to talk about it. And then you see what happens with some of the shows like on the History Channel. History Channel, Ancient Aliens, they dropped the ball. Before that, the show, The Proof is Out There, they dropped the ball. They just act like there's nothing to this case. They downplay it on purpose. They're lying to the public on purpose. And you could see right now, right? You could see with your own eyes. There's at least 20 instances. What are the chances? What are the chances, right? You think about it. Think about probability and statistics here. There's absolutely no way, right? This video, the cell phone footage, which was, by the way, was filmed in portrait style, right? For 1 minute and 41 seconds long. What are the chances that, they say they saw aliens? The video, in multiple different instances throughout that video, you see aliens. And yet, we're pretending, for some reason, a lot of us are pretending that this means nothing. That's because there are people out there who want to keep this buried for a little bit longer for some reason. They don't want the world, they don't believe the world is ready. Or maybe, and then as far as the people in the UFO community, right? I don't know. The bigger names, I don't know what to say about them. I really don't. The sad thing to me is that a lot of these people, I have nothing but respect for them for fighting all these years, for trying to, push the envelope on it. And then finally, when you get something like this, what do they do? They act like there's nothing to it. They pretend that there's nothing to it. And you see now, that they're lying now. You see that now. You can see that all of these people, the people that are downplaying this, the people that are pretending it means nothing, they are lying. Either that or they're just totally ignorant and misinformed. And I don't know. They refuse to acknowledge this. This case, right? You think about it. The Congress has been holding these hearings. Just recently I talked about that one hearing where George Knapp was there, one of my heroes, right? Who poo-poos this case, even though he's a great investigator. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be talking the way we are these days about UFOs. He led the way, but here he drops the ball on this one. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me. Until next time.